700 faculty and staffers at the University of Pennsylvania have signed a statement calling for the university to make payments in lieu of taxes, so-called pilots, to Philadelphia public schools. They believe the payments are a matter of social justice. The university has an endowment of nearly $15 billion, but pays no property taxes on its non-commercial properties because it is a nonprofit. The university sent us a written response saying, in part, the tax situation in each city and state is unique, and one of Philadelphia's greatest strengths is its rich tapestry of nonprofit organizations, including colleges and universities, hospitals, museums, arts and culture, and social service providers.
And joining us virtually now is Amy Offner. Offner is an associate professor in the Department of History at Penn. She has signed the pilot statement and is one of the organizers. Thank you so much for being here to talk about this topic with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
And before we begin, I need to point out that we did invite a representative from Penn to speak with us. They declined on camera. We also reached out to the city of Philadelphia, to the school district of Philadelphia. The school district of Philadelphia told us that they were really busy at this point dealing with the reopening plans. We did not hear back from the city of Philadelphia. All right, Amy, every other Ivy League university in this country pays these pilots. Why not Penn?
We wonder that too. Penn is the largest property owner in the city of Philadelphia, and it is not paying any property taxes into the school system. And we know that the schools are facing a really catastrophic budget crisis right now. We know, moreover, that even before the COVID pandemic, they were chronically underfunded for many years. And we know that right now, our city and our country are seeing uprisings against racial inequality on a scale really not seen in half a century. So we wonder why Penn is not doing right by the public schools by doing what every other Ivy League university does, paying its fair share.
This amounts to a lot of money. I mean, millions of dollars we're talking about, right?
Yeah, but it's important to recognize just how wealthy Penn is actually and how just affordable this would be. Jobs Justice in Philadelphia has called on Penn to pay 40% of what it would owe in property taxes. And that would make a significant difference to the Philadelphia public schools, and it would be very affordable for Penn. Penn, because of its enormous endowment and incredible wealth, can very easily generate tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars, even in a time of economic crisis. So to give you one example of how this could be done, Penn has an endowment that's worth $14.7 billion. The administration has explained that they prefer to spend 5% of the endowment a year, but that's simply a preference. They legally can spend up to 7%. And if they did that, that alone would generate over $200 million. That would more than, put aside the university's budget shortfall. It would resolve that issue, and it would leave left over quite a bit for a significant contribution to the public schools, which are hurting a lot more than Penn is right now.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about the public schools. How does not paying this hurt them even more? Philadelphia for a long time has had the unfortunate distinction of being the poorest big city in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a tragic situation that the poorest big city in the country is subsidizing one of the richest universities in the country through the active tax exemption. About 17% of the land in Philadelphia is tax exempt, and Penn is #1 on that list of tax exempt property owners. So this costs the public schools very directly because schools are funded, of course, by property taxes. And the result is that the Philadelphia public schools are being starved of resources that they need to do things as simple as remove asbestos and lead from classrooms, hire an adequate number of teachers, hire school nurses and counselors. There are really chronic needs in this school system. And, we think that kids in Philadelphia should get an education every bit as good as kids in suburban districts a few miles away, where property taxes are more adequate to the needs.
We heard some of Penn's response earlier. I do want to read to you the rest of their response. It says, quote, while we respect the views of those who advocate for the payment of pilots by Penn and other nonprofit organizations, the university believes that its many contributions as the city's largest private employer, as a world-class provider of education, healthcare, research, and innovation, and through its civic engagement, directly benefit the city and its residents far more than any pilots program. What's your reaction to that?
There is no substitute for an adequately funded public school system that's able to serve every kid in the city, no matter what neighborhood they live in, no matter what family they come from, no matter how rich or poor they are. What Penn is talking about here really are targeted enrichment programs that it designs, controls, and provides that reach a limited number of kids in the city. And there's no reason that Penn can't do that while also fulfilling its basic responsibility that every resident of the city already fulfills to pay its fair share for the adequate funding of the school system as a whole. We also think it's really important that that money be public, that Penn pay its fair share into the general property tax base, but then can be subject to public accountability. We don't think it's right for Penn to be lord of the manor, just doling out favors where it sees fit.
All right, Amy Offner, Associate Professor in the Department of History at Penn. Thank you so much for your insight on this issue today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.